HIV and AIDS. HIV is a retrovirus that affects the immune system, transmitted by infected body fluids. The virus contains two copies of RNA genome, enzymes to enter the nuclear envelope, integrase and reverse transcriptase to integrate the virus DNA into the cell. It is one of the common transmitted viruses. 36.7 million people globally were living with HIV in 2016. Of those, 34.5 million were adults, 17.8 women 15 years and older, and 2.1 million children less than 15 years. Worldwide, 1.8 million people became newly infected with HIV. From those, just 20.9 million were accessing antiretroviral therapy, and 1 million died from AIDS-related illnesses. HIV is a constantly evolving virus, which was unknown for many years. The AIDS epidemic started around the 90s. The first case found was in an homosexual man, which led to racism and stigma. People were afraid of being contracted with this deadly disease. Through the years, the pandemic has been controlled and effective treatment is given in certain countries. The virus is still evolving, creating new strands and drugs that must be constantly changing in order to be effective. There have been many advances to the point that new drugs can stop the virus from infecting the body before and after unprotected sex. However, people in underdeveloped countries might not have access to any type of treatment. I believe it's important to learn how our body works and is an excellent way to connect my knowledge gained along my biology major to understand about the disease, progression, transmission, and epidemiology. It's very useful to understand a specific disease deeply as a pre-med student to start helping and educating people about this virus. I am interested in the MD PhD program, and this is one of the reasons. I think it will be more effective to treat the patient as well as being involved in research because it might help develop a new treatment mechanism. Many courses at LaGuardia have helped me to understand this disease. The first year seminar helped me develop digital skills to find research articles within databases of the library. Biology helped me learn about the cellular and molecular basis of life, evolution, organisms' anatomy, ecology, and population problems such as HIV. Chemistry and organic chemistry gave me the knowledge to understand how molecules connect and function in our organism. The HIV virus infection is based on its capsid, which has mostly P24 viral protein. This oligoprotein is made by subunits called protomers, which are made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, connected by covalent chemical or peptide bonds. The production of drugs used for the treatment contain the same atoms and molecules that once in the system could modify the evolution of the virus at different phases. The stages where antiretroviral drugs can be used are when viral RNA is changed to DNA, reverse transcriptase inhibitor, when viral proteins are processed, protease inhibitor, when virus binds to receptors on the human cell, entry inhibitor, or when viral DNA is incorporated into cellular DNA, integrase inhibitor. Oseltamivir is an antiretroviral drug, a neuraminidase inhibitor, also called sialisase. The hydrolysis of the ester, once ingested, gives the active carboxylic acid derivative of the oseltamivir, preventing the infection of virions and host cell repressors. The course HIV and AIDS provided me with useful information about the history and development of this disease, as well as political issues that might have influenced in becoming a pandemic. Finally, cell biology as a capstone course helped me integrate and connect all the knowledge gained to fully understand the virus from different perspectives. A mechanism involved in HIV is one of the common and important processes in our body, cell replication. Our body replicates cells constantly to replace old ones and maintain homeostasis. Replication is a complex process in which many mechanisms are involved. The cell cycle has two gap phases, G1 and G2, and S phase, where synthesis of DNA occurs, the genetic material is duplicated, and an M phase, in which mitosis divides and the genetic material of the cell divides. Even though there are checkpoints after each phase to check for errors, not everything goes smoothly. HIV is a smart virus which uses different enzymes to integrate its viral DNA into the cell, to then use the cell's machinery to replicate and infect other cells, weakening the immune system. HIV affects the immune system and it is transmitted by body fluids such as blood, genital fluids, and breast milk. Mucous membranes exposed can be an open window to an HIV infection. HIV attacks CD4+ cells, molecules, and membranes. It affects the ability to activate our immune system when an invader is encountered. Dendritic cells interact closely with CD4+ T cells as well as macrophages and T helper cells, which travel to the lymph nodes to alert lymphocytes. HIV is transmitted by an infection synapse, by the plasma membrane infecting T cells, by endocytosis, exocytosis to the lymph nodes, or infection to the dendritic cell itself. It attaches to the CD4 molecule via the GP120 protein on the envelope, and also attaches to the coreceptor. Common coreceptors are CXCR4, found in T cells, and CCR5, found in T cells, macrophages, monocytes, and dendritic cells. HIV is a single-stranded, positive-sense envelope RNA retrovirus. It injects its single-stranded DNA into the host cells, then uses reverse transcriptase to transcribe a complementary double-stranded of proviral DNA. Once in the cell, it replicates and mutates easily, producing different strains. The disease can be divided in 4 stages. The acute infection, from infection until 4 weeks. At this stage, any HIV test will be negative, but the transmission is high. Patients can experience flu-like symptoms such as fever and coughs. The next phase is the chronic phase, where the body counterattacks the virus and sometimes lasts from 2 to 10 years. There are many mutations at this stage. As the virus infects the whole body, T cells count decrease. Once the T cell count are between 200 to 500 microliters, AIDS is diagnosed. A person with AIDS is more prone to cancer and opportunistic infections like pneumonia that could cause death. Currently, HIV is treated with different combinations of drugs called antiretroviral therapy. The treatment is chosen depending on each patient to get the viral count as low as possible. Since there are many drugs to treat the virus, I will speak about the nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor, also known as NRTIs. This was the first drug used to treat HIV. It works by inhibiting the reverse transcription and causing change termination after incorporation into viral DNA. The drugs needs to be forcefully ligated intracellularly. Nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors are chemical compounds, nucleoside-based analogs. They work as chain terminators during the extension of DNA when the reverse transcription process, which is carried out by HIV reverse transcriptase, occurs. It requires three phosphate groups to form the triphosphate of the analog base before it can be used as a substrate by reverse transcriptase. Protease inhibitors, or PIs, are substrate analogs for the HIV as partly protease enzyme, involved in the processing of viral proteins. It inhibits the viral maturation process by binding to the enzyme active site, blocking its information. This drug is used as a common treatment in Africa due to the lowest cost of the treatment. Integrase inhibitors target the HIV integrase enzyme, which is responsible for the integration of viral genetic material into human DNA. It is not approved for children or people with drug-sensitive strains of HIV. Entry inhibitors can be used exactly to interfere with the entry of the virus into the cell. There are two classes of function inhibitors and CCR5 antagonists. One approach to alter the virus and stop the infection could be by preventing the interaction between GP120 and CD4. Similarly, the use of therapy to target enzymes involved in the transmission could be used as reverse transcriptase, protease, and integrase enzymes. The cell replication process is involved in the transmission of HIV as previously discussed. Biology and chemistry go by hand since the integration of atoms give rise to molecules, which can form proteins and enzymes that are connected by intermolecular forces as well as hydrogen and peptide bonds. There are also other elements in our body that need to be in equilibrium in order to achieve homeostasis. Mathematics and statistics can help in the epidemiology of the disease. There is a mathematical equation that can help predict the infection of the virus in the body. The mathematical equation proposes two control variables describing HIV infection of CD4 plus T cells. The numerical simulation results show effectiveness maximizing the concentration of uninfected CD4 plus T cells, minimizing the concentration of infected cells and free virus in the body with a low dose of antiretroviral therapy to observe the adverse effects associated with excessive use of drugs. Also, indirectly minimizing the cost of treatment. Indeed, the results could be useful developing improved treatment regimen to address the virus. I've learned that all the knowledge gained is connected and needed to understand the infection and progression of HIV and AIDS. I didn't know there could be a way to create a mathematical equation to predict the infection of the virus, including the treatment. The transmission of this disease started in Africa. The virus was transmitted from chimps to humans. After the transmission to humans, the virus killed million people all over the world and was considered a pandemic. However, along the years, there has been many advances in medicine and discoveries about the virus. Nowadays, many people can live with HIV and a correct treatment. According to the Center of Disease and Control and the World Health Organization, men most infected than women. The groups infected are especially Black, Hispanic, and white, depending on the location. In New York City, there are 121,616 people living with HIV. The total diagnoses were 2,493, and the total deaths due to the HIV virus were 1,678 as of 2016. At the beginning of the pandemic, groups affected were low-income adults, drug users, homosexuals, and women. As the virus evolved, many people from different background and origin got infected, and millions died. In the present, the group of people most affected are between 15 to 24 years. due to the lack of knowledge. Worldwide, the disease has different factors for its transmission depending on